God, there's something horribly broken here, dude.
Yeah, it's called Skype.
Yeah, it really is. That looks like a BMW Z series. What is that? Or a Miata?
You're
I
wrong.
can't see the front of it.
You're
Let me
wrong.
see I'm wrong on both counts?
Yeah.
Because whatever that is looks exactly like both of those cars and is thus a complete ripoff. What is it?
We'll find out soon.
Okay. Fine.
I don't want to ruin the opening joke.
Okay. I have some news for you, by the way. Are we not live?
Oh, we are live. I would not.
Then I will hold on to that. We'll talk later.
Oh God. All right. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. It's Friday, everybody, and if you're watching the 30 seconds of pre-show after whatever, Paul was trying to guess the car behind me. You got any other guesses here before I tell you?
Now that I see the front, I can't. Again, it looks exactly like a BMW Z series. From the back, it looks a lot like a Miata, late model Miata.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to guess, knowing you and your predilections, it's probably some kind of a Tesla something.
Nope. Kevin H. I'm going to quote him here. He said, "Oh God, it's a Pontiac."
Oh wow, like one of the last ones I made.
What is today? Paul?
Sunfire.
What is today's summer
Solstice. Very good.
Hey! Ding ding ding.
Well, look at you with a purpose. Okay.
Wow.
It was a good looking car.
That one cut a little deep.
No, I didn't mean it like that. I mean,
I know, but it was just so natural, just flowing out of your mouth.
No, I didn't mean it in a critical way. I mean that you were making it funny. That's good.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's the Pontiac Solstice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That car was ahead of its time, or behind its time, depending on your opinion of the fate of the Pontiac Motor Corporation.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's worked out well for GM. Maybe not really.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, they're still around, so I guess they haven't
Are
been
they?
Chryslered yet. And
Kind of like Microsoft still around in the consumer market. Bam! I'm on fire.
I don't know if I'd use the word fire. But as Ron also points out, there was a Saturn version of this car called the Saturn Sky,
Okay.
which was in the heyday of GM just taking badges and changing the names and hoping that one of the cars would actually sell.
No, that was the worst.
Yeah, it was the worst. So this one came out of Digitimes. I don't know if it's worth writing up or
Yep.
whatever, but apparently Intel is cutting the prices on their next gen chips because they are pretty scared of what's happening with Camp AMD. Now this is, I believe, to OEMs, but I think they're feeling some like real pressure because AMD came out with some pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
That's
Not
right.
circling the toilet anymore, eh?
Yeah, I mean, basically came out with chips that'll be just fine for probably 98.5% of the consumer market at least, and probably even more of the enterprise market. And,
So they've done something Qualcomm is also shooting for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what happens when I get too much sleep, guys? Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, which reminds me, this is a very weird connection, extremely weird connection.
Mm-hmm.
Graphic too much because I was thinking about sleep, and then
Jeez.
sleeps tie into Fitbits, right?
Now you've really raised the bar on my expectations. Go on.
We got sleep. Sleep ties into a Fitbit. We got my daughter a Fitbit Ace 2, which is designed for kids.
Wow.
Mostly because
Can you deliver a little electronic shock when she's screwing up? Is it that kind of thing?
That's the advanced version with LTE connectivity. But she's really like taken like a big, I don't know, interest in my wife and I, because we track her steps with Apple Watches and do all that stuff. And then she obviously wants the same thing. So we bought one, and I'll probably end up doing a write up about it to see how it works for her from her perspective, because it's like a totally different, like, she's just happy to have something hanging on her wrist that turns on probably. But
yes. Yep. I will tell you, I don't know what it tracks exactly. I assume it's mostly based around steps, but
yep, that's about all.
And of course, given her her tiny stride, she probably gets like 18,000 steps just going to the bathroom. But so one thing I've done recently is I stopped looking at the sleep data from my Fitbit because it is horribly inaccurate. I'm not sure if I've ever mentioned this anywhere, but there was a story a couple weeks back in the New York Times about this topic. In my particular case, I started literally noting to my wife as we went to bed. I'm like, "What time is it?" And she would say like 10:30 or whatever. I'm like, "Yep." And then you get up in the morning. It's like, oh, you got 5 hours of sleep. You went to bed at 12:45. Like consistently would chop at least 2 hours off every night. And I'm like, I can't. I just can't deal with it.
Yeah.
So that was one thing I stopped doing.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Your daughter probably sleeps 10 hours a night. I mean, God knows, but
well, unless it's thunderstorming, and then I'm sleeping about 3 hours a night, and she's crawling into bed because she's been woken up by the thunder and lightning. And
this has been a tough year then, because it has done that a lot.
It is sunny outside. I ate my lunch on the back deck because I was like, I need some vitamin D.
So, just semi-randomly, yesterday...
Yeah, we got no script.
I mean, we're just... Yeah, who cares? I stepped out to the front. It was full-blown sunny, also downpouring right in front of me, And I'm like, yep. I think this is the third or fourth sign of the apocalypse. I can't remember, but later in the evening, it wasn't dark yet. It was just kind of getting dark, My daughter commented on how many fireflies there were on the front lawn. And we have a ton of fireflies here. Like, this is something we never really had in Dedham. And I mean, there were hundreds of them just really going over the grass. And like hundreds. It was like a Disney movie out there or something, So as I'm standing there, I noticed some bats flying around. And eventually it occurred, you could tell there were at least 3. And they were just flying in circles, and they would occasionally dive bomb, probably found an insect or whatever. So I called my wife. We were also standing there on the front porch looking at this, and like, I don't think I have ever seen this behavior before. And I have to assume it's related to all of the wetness. Like, these creatures have probably all been interrupted on their normal schedules. And so when the rain finally stopped, like, they just came out, to catch up on a couple of days of feeding or whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Not quite, frogs falling from the sky weird, but
locusts and pests and all sorts of...
It's on the spectrum. It's on that spectrum, whatever that is, the plague spectrum.
Slowly closer to midnight or whatever it is. The other things that have been cut, not just fly population by the bats, is Google just basically tossing in the towel on tablets. Like, they're done. They're not even going to try anymore.
This follows a rumor from early in the year about scalebacks in their hardware division. Specifically, it's the part of the company that makes the tablets, the Pixel tablet, Pixel book, I guess it's called, and then what was the Pixel tablet called? That stupid piece of crap they announced last fall that nobody bought.
Pixel Slate.
Slate, yeah, with the stupid round keys on the keyboard, like it's like a kiddie computer or something. This doesn't surprise me.
No, I mean, products nobody's been able to really sell tablets. I guess if you're going to buy one, Samsung is probably your last bastion of hope. But even them, Apple doesn't sell a ton of iPads anymore, but they still sell the most in the industry.
They sell several millions a quarter. I mean, I think the tablet market has kind of topped out sooner than people thought. Honestly, I get that certain people have like a thing against Apple. I understand that, but when it comes to actual tablets, you're going to play games on, read, watch movies on a trip, whatever it is. Basically, there's the iPad. Yep. And then if you're really cash constrained, I guess, or maybe you have kids and you don't want them with an expensive toy, you could get them like a Kindle Fire or whatever they're called these days, I guess. But it is weird to me on the straight up Android tablet scene that none of that stuff has been popular.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's Android. I think it's the apps and the app developers. For whatever reason on the Apple side, developers have really done a great job of tailoring their iOS apps to work on the bigger screen. And they look different. They don't just scale up. It's not like an email list where it's just a list. If you have the bigger screen, you get like a preview pane too. They're like more sophisticated. And I don't know why that hasn't happened on the Android side, but I think that's the problem.
Yeah, I would also argue that there's a bigger risk when you buy an Android tablet. Like, it's stealing the IBM slogan. Like, nobody's ever been fired for buying an iPad, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like buying a Honda Accord. It's going to work. It's going to be fine. It's going to do what you need to do and whatever. And you can go buy an Android tablet and you might save a few bucks or get a few different features, but you don't know.
You're missing out, though.
Yeah.
You're missing out. I literally just the other day, coincidental to this, I was walking upstairs. I don't do this every single day, but probably 2 or 3 times a week at the end of the day, like 4:30-ish. I'll go upstairs and I'll lay down in the bed and I actually work a little bit laying down,
Yeah.
And this day I brought my phone, which is an Android phone, my tablet, because I wanted to reference something I had in pocket, which is an iPad, and a laptop, which of course is a Windows laptop. And I briefly actually just had this thought, 3 completely different platforms, 3 completely different device types. each one the best choice, I think, from my opinion, for that device type, and that moving between those things is really not that difficult. It's not at all difficult, maybe is the right way to say it. They all serve some kind of a purpose. They're all really good at what they do. And I wouldn't use the platform from one in any other kind of device. Like I wouldn't want Windows on a pure tablet. Like it just wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
To me.
I mean,
opinions are different.
It is what it is, right? That's, if you're looking to buy a Google tablet, you're not looking anymore.
Oh, wait a couple of weeks. I think we'll probably be on a fire sale eventually. The Slate.
Actually, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I was surprised. By the way, I don't know if this is true today, but after I read about this yesterday, I went to their website. If you go to store.google.com, they'll have device types or product types up at the top in a menu, and one of them says tablets. And when you click on it, it goes to a blank page. But if you search that site for the product, the Pixel Slate, you can actually bring it up and still buy it. It's still there. But it was kind of interesting that on the day that this was revealed, that part of the site was not working.
Yeah.
That may be fixed now. I don't know. But yesterday, that certainly happened.
Yeah. The only reason I bring up Honda Accord and all that and broken websites was Honda's website. I build half the time when I'm eating lunch, I'm just building cars on the internet. Like either I can afford them, like a Honda Accord or a BMW 7 Series that I will never own. Anyways, Honda's website's been broken for like 48 hours where you clicked on build an Accord and it took you to the minivan. And I thought this was like something in the back of my head or like some greater being trying to tell me I'm going to have like 7 kids and I need a van. So
you're right. You need at least a crossover, some kind of a, station wagon. I haven't done what you're describing in a long time. I have spent a lot of my life doing exactly what you just described. I'm a big car guy, but my last impression of these car websites, it doesn't matter if it was BMW or Honda or whatever, is they were all made by the same person, right? Like they're exactly the same, I think. It's like when you use Uber or Lyft, like the app. Clearly, this is the same app, right? Yeah. Like it's the same thing.
You know who has the best online builder website? At least in my opinion, is Porsche.
Porsche, interesting.
If it's what separates them from like anybody else is like, so when you build a 911 or whatever, there's like millions of options. Not really, but there's at least probably 100.
Sure.
But they do a really good job that if you like click this Porsche is gonna have black mirrors, then it like actually changes
it changes it to show that
rather than just showing you a price update or something. So
yeah.
Things that aren't as transparent as the Porsche online car configurator is 19H2, which, as we all know by now, has not dropped. Microsoft is just kind of ignoring this, or us.
It's worse than that. They're bald-faced lying on Twitter about what's going on, and I don't like it. There are two issues here. One is that from a like a Microsoft customer perspective, there are different support life cycles for the H1 and the H2 builds of Windows, and customers actually need to know what that thing is so they can plan. And I don't mean customers like you and me, like Joe Bozos out in the street that are enthusiasts. I mean like actual corporate customers. It is unbelievable that they have not explained what's going on there. Aside from that, there's the boobery of the Windows Insider program, which has descended into the most unprofessional front piece for Microsoft that I have ever seen in my entire life. And I'm getting a little tired of someone from Microsoft saying something very specific and then coming back later and saying, "Oh, we didn't really mean that." Like, they need a crash course in communications. This is ridiculous. Between the modern OS thing they talked about a month ago, the Joe Belfiore stuff from two different builds in a row where he's like, "I didn't say that," like, yeah, you did say it, and it's on video, idiot. You can go back and look at exactly what you said. It's not hard to come out in the public and say something non-specific. Just say, look, we're working on this thing. We don't know if it's going to come in the next version. We don't know when it's going to come. We don't know if it will take this exact form, but here's our thinking today. It absolves you of everything. Don't say something's going to happen at a particular time and then get all bitchy on Twitter when it doesn't happen. You said that.
You know who actually does a good job of this? Actually, at Microsoft?
No.
Well, it's a lot of their enterprise stuff, but Teams does a very good job. They actually have a forum where it's like, these are the features we're working on. They're in progress, in development, or whatever. And when they're done, they ship. When they're not, they're not. I don't know. Microsoft is still in this kind of weird mode where they think they have to be all secretive about the features coming to Windows, as if someone's going to supplant.
Yeah, you say Microsoft. It's that part of Microsoft, right? Yeah. So, we both talked to Jeff Teeper, I guess it was last week. It seems like a million years ago, but whenever that was.
Last week.
And one of the observations I made to him was that, it's very interesting to me that the Office 365 team, which is part of Microsoft 365 with Windows, manages a level of complexity that is unknown at Microsoft, other than perhaps at Azure, and yet they are able to come out with and clearly communicate every single month hundreds of updates across all of the different product types that they have. Meanwhile, you get Microsoft, the other part of Microsoft over here, making Windows. These guys are responsible for 2 feature updates a year, and then security updates and bug fixes and stuff. And they can't communicate to save their lives, let alone ship something that actually works and arrives on time. It boggles the mind how one part of Microsoft is completely competent, and then this other part, the part I happen to care about the most, by the way, which is why I'm so upset about it, is so completely incompetent. It's really frustrating.
I don't tend to disagree.
Did I communicate that clearly, Brad? Because I can
So
elaborate.
what I heard was that you're really happy with the development process of Windows and that you like surprises.
Yeah, you didn't hear me. you didn't. Oh well.
Well, that is going on. There was something else that was happening too, and I can't remember.
Something else that was happening. Was there?
I don't know. I'm just looking at like some of the cell phone rumors for the fall, and it's like 3 cameras, 4 cameras, 5 cameras.
Yeah.
I don't.
It just kind of blurs together at this point. I mean, which is kind of nice. Although I wonder now. Most companies that make a nice smartphone, like a high-end flagship smartphone, Samsung, Apple. Actually, that's pretty much it. No, Google, whatever. Mm-hmm. They and even OnePlus is eking into this territory. Although I feel like they're kind of on the line, frankly. Huawei actually is maybe the best example. Yep. For whatever else is going on in those systems, the cameras are excellent. And by the cameras, I think I kind of mean the software for the cameras, right? I think a lot of it is the services that they build on top of the hardware. The hardware is almost a commodity, if you will. I mean, even in multi-lens systems, whatever. At some point, everyone's just going to figure this out. You'll be able to buy like a Samsung A series or get some kind of a mid-level Nokia or whatever it is, and it will have a superior camera system. It will just be great. Like what are they? Where's the innovation happening after the camera? Like
right.
we're almost there. Is it the folding screen, multi-screen? Like where's the next explosion? Because I think photography is something that most people appreciate and want. Mm-hmm. My brother-in-law is out in Italy this week, and I don't think he brought a camera. I think he's just taking pictures with his phone. And they're beautiful. He's not a photographer. He's just a normal human being, just like I am. I mean, but he's got a nice Samsung. I think it's an S9 Plus or whatever. It's not even this year's model, but
yep.
Yeah, it's great. So how do you get people to buy new things now? If all that stuff just works great.
That's the problem.
It is a problem.
That is the problem. Well, not so much for us because we can get away with what I'm hoping is to give my phone to my wife and let me buy the new one. But we're hoping.
Yeah. You have an X. You have a 10S, right?
10S, yeah. And I'm hoping that my wife will just inherit that one night while she's sleeping.
That's perfectly acceptable. That phone's going to be viable for years. Like that's a great phone.
And
a great camera.
The next one is it's just going to add another camera, probably slightly faster processor, maybe a little bit better battery life, and that's probably about it.
Yep. Yeah, she'll be able to get dark mode on there, and it will be beautiful. It'll be like a brand new phone.
Yeah, I figured.
What does she run now? Like an iPhone 7 or 8 or something?
On a 7.
Yeah. Yeah, that will be a huge upgrade for her.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna buy her birthday's in August, and I was like, man, maybe I can get like a good deal on a 10R, but then it's like the 10S is probably better than the 10R. Even a year later, like meaning whatever, trying to I don't know.
Yep.
So we got that all going on. Is there anything else happening on the world?
Other than the weird plague behavior I'm seeing here in Pennsylvania.
Well, that's I don't think that's that might have been wishes coming true on my part.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Are the trees supposed to be upside down? Is that normal?
I don't know. It's gorgeous outside. It is. Your Amazon package has shipped. That's not what I need. 76 degrees outside, which is a little.
I have a Fitbit, so I don't get to see the weather on my watch. Although there is a weather app, it's just impossible to get to. So I'll say to my wife like, "Hey, do you know what the weather's supposed to be?" And then I'll look at my watch and I'll be like, "I don't know why I keep doing this. It's not on there." Like I can't stop from looking. It's like, nope, still not there.
Yeah.
But you just did that. How many taps to the weather on your watch? Like 0. How quickly is 0? Oh, because it's right on the.
There's a little complication.
There you go. Use the right term.
And because I'm fair-skinned, I also have the UVI index on there, which is at 9.0, which means I will burn very quickly. So I need to be careful how long I'm out in the sun so I don't get the cancers.
That's amazing.
The sunset will set at 9:06 p.m. tonight, and
It is the solstice, as you obviously know.
Yep. Pontiac solstice. That's it. You got anything else going on, Mr. Thwap?
Nope. I keep working on my stuff. I'm gonna probably. I hope to get some book updates going over the weekend. There'll be some more programming window stuff if you're following that series. The usual, I guess.
Yeah, just
nice to be home, right?
It is. This is very odd. I don't know what to do. Knowing I'm not traveling for a couple weeks, so
I can actually put the bag away. Like my bag was just out.
Mm-hmm.
I think for 6 weeks straight. Like it didn't make sense to put it somewhere. I kept needing it.
I had something. Oh, the thing that people actually watching this are probably going to be interested in. So when we were in Washington, D.C. last week, we recorded what we call Health of Tech.
Right.
And we recorded it. We had a couple different cameras set up and we got some B-roll footage. I don't know the exact state of it, but I know that the editing is coming along. It was an hour in length.
Yeah, I think we talked for, I would say, 50 minutes.
Yeah, something like that.
Remember we were supposed to hit 45 and we went over a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we had we only had a couple questions, but so the total recording time is probably about an hour.
Yeah. So that should be up on the site soon-ish. Mary Jo was involved with that as well. We bamboozled her into it. And,
just as a preview for people who are going to watch this later, I just want to be clear. I was not threatening Mark Benioff's life. It's going to sound like I did, but that's a deep fake. I just don't.
It's a deep fake. Please don't arrest him. Or maybe they should. And then also shout out to I cannot pronounce this last name, Isabella Tufel in the chat room, who gave us a gold star for 5 days in a row of the podcast.
Technically 6 of 5, because we also did the Beneath the Surface, which is actually live on the site as well.
Yep. So, all right, folks, so that wraps it up for today for this live edition of First Ring Daily. You can find us. We should be back here next week, regularly scheduled programming. Hopefully you have a wonderful weekend, and we'll catch you right back here next time. Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought about cutting the grass just to get outside, but then I was like,
No, it's too wet here. It's been raining so much.
Well, it's real convenient. My front yard is pretty heavily sloped, so that's never dry or never wet.
Oh.
And then the real convenient thing is my backyard's not as heavily sloped, but just right up against the house. So the only place that's really swampy is right when you step outside the door. It's just super.
Yeah. Actually, we're also on a hill, except in the back, which is like a minefield of dog usage.
The other fun thing we've got happening is they're going to dig up our street and repave it. I'm eagerly looking forward to having a jackhammer outside my house. That is going to be.
Yeah. I've gone through that. It's actually, it's kind of cool when they do it in a way.
Sure. No, like our street needs it, and I'm happy they're doing it. I just don't really want to live through them.
Are they just surfacing it? Like they're going to pull up the whole thing? What are they doing? They're going to go down and.
So they're regrading, like they're going to strip it all off and put down
that's
some
the
new
serious one, like the once every 20-year treatment or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's been 23 years or something like that. So
Yep.
It'll be fun. Not
all
really.
right. I'll look forward to that.
Later.
Bye.